Everybody shut up and action. Is Fantastic Four a good movie? I liked it. I mean, I know this is the point where I should probably say Marvel is back, baby. But yeah, I'm kind of tired of doing that because I will say that and then the next movie tends to be trash. So yeah, all I'm going to say right now is that after Thunderbolts, this is actually a really nice follow-up. You know, I enjoyed the Thunderbolts, and now Fantastic Four has come, and I really enjoyed this movie. It's not your typical origin story. The Fantastic Four, as you've seen in the previous movies, I've seen them, but I've really forgotten them. But this one, it just gets right into it. Right from the get-go, you're introduced to the characters, and you see that, oh my god, we know their backstory now. Oh, we explain to you the small backstory. They went to space, they faced some cosmic situation, and now, you know, they have superpowers, and now they spent the past 4 years protecting Earth, fighting off different villains, creating a semblance of world peace. But yeah, we have world peace now. Fantastic Four has done so much for humanity. Don't worry, we will talk about a few spoilers later because there's some stuff I want to talk about. But yeah, the Fantastic Four has been saving humanity. They're practically bringing about world peace. This isn't, I don't know if this is exactly the MCU timeline or if it's a different universe, but it seems like it's way long ago, before Iron Man, Tony Stark, maybe even before Captain Marvel and Captain America. I'm not too sure about their timeline here, but you know, it is taking place in New York, so it's the interesting story of the Galactus, Silver Surfer, coming to Earth, saying, your planet is marked for death. Galactus is coming to eat your planet. And now it's the Fantastic Four's duty to go to space to try and stop Galactus from wanting to come and eat and destroy Earth. Okay, so you have an interesting premise right off the bat. Earth is in mad danger. You have this villain who is more like a typical villain. He just wants to destroy Earth because he wants to feed on Earth. It's not because he wants to specifically, oh my god, I am mentally ill. I'm going to destroy Earth because I am going through some issues or something. Like, I mean, those villains tend to be good. Like Thanos, he had his goal of wanting to be a good person, trying to cut all life in half for each population to try and make it so the resources can be plentiful for the population. Like, he had a noble goal in mind, and like that made an interesting villain, a more captivating villain for sure. But like, it's also good to see a variety of villains where there are some that are just naturally evil, though we don't really see that many of those anymore. But like, it's good to see one now and then, and that's what we have here. We have or he's not completely like a completely forced villain, but like, he is cursed and he is eating planets because that's what he has to do. That is his curse. And the story is now Galactus wants to take Sue Storm's baby for himself. Like, okay, you have an intriguing story now. Like, Sue Storm's baby, Sue Storm and what's his name, Reed Richards. They're finally expecting a baby after years of thinking they were never gonna have one, and now their baby seems to be, oh my god, he has some magnificent superpowers that will allow him to take over my curse, so I can finally rest and not have to do this stuff anymore. So, you know, I'll spare Earth if you give me your child. Okay, so that is a story to progress now. I don't want to get too much more into stories because I could talk for hours and I will probably spoil everything. But like, that is the essential aspect of the story. Oh, will you give your baby up to protect Earth, or will you let Galactus destroy Earth? Or if not either of those possibilities, how will you stop Galactus? Yeah, so basically, just a quick little conclusion to this review is that this movie is beautiful. Like, visually, it is absolutely gorgeously stunning. Like, the visual shots are eye-gaping, bro. Like, watch this movie in IMAX. You will fall in love. The shots, the cinematography, everything is gorgeous. The shots are so beautiful. Eye candy for your eyes, man. Like, you're seeing this giant Galactus. You have a tiny speck, which is Silver Surfer. You have these tiny specks of the Fantastic Four. These shots are so beautiful. Like, the CGI in this movie is absolutely gorgeous. Besides for Johnny Storm's fire, I don't know. Like, at times, not even Johnny Storm, just fire in general. Fire throughout this entire movie felt like it is obviously fake and CGI, though at times it looked nice, but like other times it just, like, I'm not trying to criticize the fire, it's just like it blatantly looked out as if it was completely fake. So that is like a small criticism I have there. But like, besides that, every shot is gorgeous. The shots between Silver Surfer and Johnny Storm, the shot of Galactus, his grandesque size looking down on the rest of the Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer, like, just the size comparison between them is absolutely eye-striking to watch, but then completely confuses the hell out of you when you see him later on in the movie. It's like, wait, you're not that like, you showed us this grandesque sort of figure in comparison to these small guys, and now you're just saying you're just a typical giant. Like, you were looking so grandesque, like you were bigger than planets. How can you look so small? Like, it sets you up to think of him as this grandesque being, and then he just looks so small later on, and it just confuses the hell out of you. Like, what the hell? And you can't get that entire aspect out of your head throughout the entire third act of the movie, and you're like, what the hell? Why are you so small? You looked so much bigger earlier. Go back to being big. Because Galactus as a big villain is, like, huge. Though at the same time, I feel like this is just the beginning of Galactus, and we might see more of him in the future, hopefully. And if we do, maybe he'll turn into like an Avengers level villain, because I do not see how anyone can stop him without an Avengers team up, you know. But like, regardless, I don't know if we'll see him ever again. But it makes for an interesting movie for sure. This movie is definitely immersive at times, especially with the beautiful CGI and visual shots, especially those grandesque escapist sort of shots, which help you immerse yourself into the movie. It is kind of rewatchable. I feel like not immediately I'd want to rewatch it 25 times or something, but like, give me a couple years, I would definitely want to rewatch it, or in, you know, MCU binge, I would want to rewatch it. But like, besides that, it's not like I'm gonna go out of my way and to be like, I need to watch this movie. But if it ever comes out in IMAX again, maybe 3-4 years again from now, I will definitely consider watching it again, because the shots in this movie are absolutely stunning. Yeah, but besides that, the story is nice, it's intriguing. There are a lot of things that kind of bother you plot-wise in the moment, but then, like, you forget about later, and then, like, when you think back on it later, it bothers you again. Like, what the hell, that's a big plot hole now. Like, I initially thought there was stuff that were plot holes, but then, okay, it kind of gets resolved and not following that sort of pathway, so it's not a plot hole. But then later on, you're thinking again, and wait, like, it's like, how did I not realize that's actually a plot hole? Like, I know it bothered me, and it was a plot hole, but what? Like, I'll explain that in the spoiler aspect, but like, yeah, aspects of this movie just did not make sense, and really kills the vibe. But like, besides that, it is an interesting movie with a lot of good details, and it's just a heartwarming movie, because like, you really do fall in love with all these characters. They're moments of family. It's essentially a movie about family, the connection of family, the Fantastic Four, how all four of them are a family together, how they consider the world to be a family in a way, like an extension of the family that they want to protect. And yeah, and like how they look out for the world, and they want the world to look out for them, sort of bonding together. That's sort of gorgeous. And then obviously you love the Fantastic Four as heroes individually. Their characters, they're not like some wildly quirky sort of crazy characters or anything. Like, I know in the original Fantastic Four, it was like Johnny and Thing had this like loving relationship, but at the same time they were always making fun. Johnny was always teasing and making fun of the Thing, to the point where the Thing was more like, I'm gonna kill him. Like, yeah, like they had those type of really more extrovertedly quirky, more openly quirky sort of behaviors, and like that is present here, but it really shows these characters as all of them being more intelligent, all of them really being extremely smart individuals, all of them being scientist level individuals, and like how they all are actually like family bonded together. They still have that teasing and sort of quirks to their characters, but at the same time they're a lot closer. They're all a lot more grounded, not overly quirky in a way that it gets annoying or cringy, but like they always have their quirks, but they always are willing to do anything for each other. They all have that connection of family. They all have that connection of looking for love, and the teasing that goes along with that. And it's honestly just a lot more characters that you really get a lot more attached to, which we haven't seen in Marvel movies for a while. You're actually getting attached to these characters, and you're falling in love with them. The casting was beautiful. All their acting performances were stunning and phenomenal. I really loved them. They really immersed me into their characters. They immersed me into this movie. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's why I give this movie a solid 75%. And yeah, now we're going to talk into spoilers. So 3, 2, 1, that was your spoiler warning. Here we go. Spoiler alert. So, the key thing I want to talk about in this movie is Galactus, because when he came on Earth, he looked small as hell. Like, the earlier shots in this movie, we had him looking this expansive sort of being, like, ginormous. Like, there were shots of him just being in the background, barely visible, but visible at the same time. And then just a tiny speck of the Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer size, tiny, slightly above them. That shot was gorgeous. The sun in the background with Johnny Storm chasing Silver Surfer, absolutely gorgeous. But then, of course, you also have all these tiny nitbits of him coming to Earth, and then suddenly he's, like, shorter than half the buildings there. It's like, whoa, what? I mean, like, yes, buildings are also taller than humans in that manner, but like the way the shot was kind of describing and creating the difference in power levels and height, and through all these visual sort of storytelling aspects, you expected him to be a lot bigger, to the point like he might not even be able to fit on to stand on the planet without crushing it under his weight, type of thing. Like, I don't, obviously the physics behind that doesn't necessarily make sense, but it felt like he could not, if he stood on the planet, his head would be like in space type height, like, you know. But like, obviously that was just a little, what is going on type of vibe after when you saw that. But like, besides that, then there was the aspect between Johnny Storm and the Silver Surfer, the entire romantic sort of connection that was there. That was actually really, really well done. I really fell in love with character of Johnny Storm a lot in this movie. He's my favorite of the Fantastic Four, and of course the Silver Surfer, I really liked her portrayal here, even though she's barely seen, but she's also this character that, you know, I'm only here serving Galactus, picking worlds to die to protect my own, because if I don't work for Galactus, he'll destroy my world too. And this movie, just when you think about it from that aspect, it's always centering around the theme of decision making and what are you willing to sacrifice. I mean, and the concept of family. Like Silver Surfer, she's willing to sacrifice herself to protect her planet, which she considered under family, which is on that planet. In this movie, Franklin, the son of Sue Storm and Reed Richards, they were not, the Fantastic Four were not willing to sacrifice their baby to save Earth, and they were, at the same time, they were not willing to sacrifice Earth to save their baby, and they're in that predicament of how do they protect not only their family but their extended family of the world. And yes, Sue Storm has this beautiful speech that convinces the world you shouldn't sacrifice. We've sacrificed, like obviously there's that aspect of, oh, we're sacrificing so much to protect you for years, you can't just let us have our child. You know, we couldn't have a child for ages. It's not like we can have another child. We can't sacrifice our son. Even if they could have another child, it's like, why would you want us to sacrifice our son? We're protecting your families. You want us to protect your families, but you don't mind breaking our family. Like, I feel like that was a bigger aspect of this movie that could have been fleshed out a lot more, because it felt like it's something that it could be something that could be explored a lot more in depth and more fleshed out and more like a bigger aspect of the story, because it's clearly present as a bigger aspect of the story. But then they just rush it through and end it with like one speech, a small montage, and then it's like, yeah, and that speech, it kind of felt wonky. Like, I mean, the idea comes across like, yes, we're here to protect you, we're also here to protect our son, and we're not going to pick sides of we'll sacrifice ourselves to protect our son and run away, because they are fully capable of leaving the planet, abandoning it to its fate, but you know, they didn't. They want to protect Earth, and they also want to protect their family. And through a small speech by Sue Storm as a mother, connecting with all the mothers in the audience and all the other parents and kids in the audience, they were able to unite the world together once again to want to protect the Earth and protect their family. Like, obviously the world is having this entire meltdown, like, oh my god, can you not just sacrifice your son to protect our planet? Please, please, please. Because, like, at the end of the day, sacrificing Franklin wouldn't do anything. All Galactus is planning to do is pass his curse onto Franklin, where he will be the one having to eat planets, and who knows if Earth will be safe. He could hold a grudge against Earth, saying, you sacrificed me and cursed me, I'm gonna crush Earth first. There's no guarantee that Earth is gonna be safe. So, like, regardless, sacrificing Franklin was never the play, and I don't know, I felt like that speech, like, that was the main idea that came across, but I felt like it could have been worded better to get you more emotionally attached, because while the characters in the movie and all the Earthlings felt like motivated, and their entire aspect of them, their entire mindset entirely changed after hearing that speech, you don't feel that connection to the speech as an audience member. Sue Storm's acting performance around the speech was beautiful, and it really just hooks you a little, but like the speech itself, the wording surrounding it, just felt very lackluster in terms of trying to get the audience emotionally engaged with it and feel that sort of revolution within them. And yeah, that just felt lackluster there for sure. I felt like that entire aspect of the movie definitely could have been fleshed out a lot more and been a bigger part of the movie, since it was already like a key sort of central theme around it. But it did feel a lot lackluster in the essence of the theme and that speech itself. Also with that, I wanted to talk about the small detail of when they were describing world peace, how the country of Doctor Doom, Latveria or whatever, we saw a little bit of it in Moon Knight, I believe it was, though that's not confirmed, that was just a theory people had. But you know, I love how the entire world's united, disarming themselves, but then there's Latveria not present at all in that entire meeting, and being one of the only countries that is still is still armed, and you know that country is ruled by Doctor Doom. So that's a tiny detail for people who read the comics. I haven't read many comics, but I just happen to know that detail from back in the day when I used to constantly make theories, because that was the fun aspect of watching the MCU. Now that's kind of stale and I don't care anymore. So, oh well. But like, yeah, it was just a cool detail to see. And yeah, then there's the entire aspect of Johnny Storm suddenly deciphering, that's how you pronounce the word, Silver Surfer's entire language. Like, she's speaking in the language of her home country, and there's been message coming out from her country meant to be found by her that's saying, oh my god, thank you for protecting us. But she never got them. Earth got them. Earth intercepted them. Not intentionally, of course. She could still receive them, but like, they also received the message, and they were trying to figure out what it means. And then just after hearing a few words from Silver Surfer, I guess they're showcasing the genius of Johnny Storm deciphering the entire language to be able to understand every word that was said, and then connect with Silver Surfer to the extent where she starts having a mental breakdown after realizing what she's doing, because she knows what she's doing and sacrificing other planets to save her own, and she knows what she's doing is hurting her on the inside, but she has to do it to protect her family. And then she eventually just feels this entire revolution. I don't know if there's an aspect of a connection between Johnny Storm and Silver Surfer involved, and a sort of romantic tension involved, but like, there also seems to be that type of connection influencing this in a minor degree, but mainly that entire aspect of guilt haunting her, causing emotional distress, and now she suddenly sacrifices herself into taking Galactus out into a portal so that Earth can be safe. That's the big plot hole I wanted to talk about in a minute, the portal stuff. But regardless, like, that entire connection between Johnny Storm and Silver Surfer really was something to explore, that I loved exploring. I felt like exploring it a little more would have been nice, but it wasn't necessary in a way. That's just more of a fan wanting to see more of the two. But like, you know, I thought it was done well to the point where they connected. She felt her guilt and wanted to protect Earth the way she protected her planet, while by doing this she might have just sacked her own planet's entire life, because Galactus might go after that for her betrayal. But yeah, she was overridden with guilt, and that's that aspect of the movie for sure, and that was intriguing to watch because it also showed the aspect of family where Johnny Storm was almost at the point of willing to sacrifice his own life to make sure Galactus goes through the portal. Then Silver Surfer saved him, like, she loves him and wanted to atone for her sins or the guilt she felt, and sent Galactus flying back through the portal. That was the entire beauty of a sequence. I really love that aspect, and that aspect alone might be worth a rewatch along with the visuals. But, you know, and then there's also the big plot hole at the end of the portals. Like, throughout the entire movie, there's also this foreshadowing of how the portal works and how it might be a necessity in the future for defeating Galactus. Or it's not foreshadowing exactly, it's just a tiny detail being prevalent early as an aspect that would be used later in the end. And what we're seeing is that you need one teleporter and another teleporter. The egg goes in one teleporter, it comes out as another teleporter. But now we get the aspect of teleporting Galactus. First, the part that felt wonky when I watched this movie, I'm going to give this in the order of how I felt. When I was watching this movie and they started using teleporters to teleport Earth, they were like, okay, we'll place teleporters at all these locations and cover Earth. We'll shoot a beam up and then have it wrap around Earth, and then we'll teleport Earth. Where to? You need a second teleporter to come out. Like, I got it. Okay, you're covering Earth, but now where is it going to go? Where are you going to teleport to? You didn't show us or give us any sequence that you're sending teleporters out into space so that it'll reach another galaxy, and then, you know, Earth will appear there after. So that felt a little wonky, but then once Galactus arrived and Silver Surfer destroyed the teleporters, it was like, okay, that's not being pursued, so, you know, that plot hole can just slide. And this wasn't me actively making that decision, that was just in my head, it all just slid away, so I was like, fine. And then, you know, they teleport Galactus. But then after the movie, I was talking with my friend, I explained this thought process, and I was like, okay, it's all fine. It wasn't that big a plot hole that just makes you question everything. But then a little later, I was still thinking on it, and I realized I just said that it was a plot hole and it didn't ruin anything, but it does ruin everything because Galactus went through the portal, and where did he end up? There was one portal left, and he went through that. Silver Surfer pushed him through, but where was the exit? Where was the other teleporter where he had to exit out of? So I don't know how that just blew over my head when I was conversing it, but now that I think about it, it does bother me a lot more. Like, okay, so you have a gigantic plot hole, not just a minor thing that you showed and then threw aside and to pursue something else in the movie. No, it's a plot hole that just sticks around in a more minor way, a major way, but like, instead of the grandest aspect of Earth being teleported, now it's just Galactus being teleported, and the same issue arises of, where does it pop out? Where was the other teleporter for him to come out of? You want to send him really far away, but like, does he appear there? Who knows? And then, of course, there's the post-credit scenes where you get to see Doctor Doom with Franklin. And then another post-credit scene that was kind of just a fun little tidbit of an animation. But, like, you know, the second one just gets you a little excited for Doomsday, even though there's not much that it tells other than Doom meeting Franklin. And it's like, okay, I feel like comic lovers have a better idea of what's going on, but, you know, it just excites you that Dr. Doom might be involved with the Fantastic Four. Who knows if it's RDJ's Dr. Doom, referring to MCU Dr. Doom, or if this is a Doctor Doom of the past, or I don't know. Like, I don't even understand what I'm saying, because I don't know if this is MCU, because there have been rumors that this isn't MCU canon, and just I mean, it's an MCU canon movie, but it's not like in our current timeline. It could be a parallel Earth or something, so it could be a different Doctor Doom. But there's I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's RDJ, because like if it was Doctor Doom, it has to likely be from a different timeline. If assuming that the Doctor Doom that we're seeing in Avengers Doomsday in the future will be from the current timeline with RDJ, because this is Doctor Doom in the past, and I highly doubt Doctor Doom is immortal, or I could be wrong. But who knows? That's just too much to think about right now. But like, there's a lot to look forward to in Avengers Doomsday. I'm definitely looking forward to that movie. I can't wait to watch it. That was Fantastic Four. I enjoyed it. It has its fair share of problems. I give it a solid 75%. You know what's up. That is Fantastic Four. I liked it.